Hi guys, welcome to this video on BIDMAS, which is the order of operations that we use in maths to make sure that everybody all across the world does calculations that are involving more than one thing in exactly the right order. Otherwise we could all get different answers and we'd all think we were right. So let's write that out first of all. BIDMAS. Okay, it stands for, and I'll just move that down, B stands for brackets. So that says if you've got a maths question, it's got brackets in it, you do what's inside those brackets first, no matter what. So it could be the last thing written down, but it's the first thing that happens. I stands for indices, or powers, or the little numbers that are kind of like here in this example, and we'll have a look at that one in this question. D stands for division. M stands for multiplication, and they actually have the same value, so they kind of like come together. Dividing and multiplying are the same kind of power or weighting in maths. And then, and you've probably worked these ones out now, addition and subtraction, and again they come together, so they are as important as each other. So it's a simple case of looking at a question and not solving it from left to right, but using the rules BIDMAS to decide which bits to do first. So in this question here, we're going to work this one through. I've got some addition, I've got an indice, and I've got a multiply. So let's go through our BIDMAS. Brackets. Do I have any brackets in this question? Well, the answer to that is no, so I don't have to worry about doing any bracket calculations. Next bit, do I have any indices? Well, yes, I do. So the first bit I'm going to have to do is this bit here. I'm going to do 3 to the power 2, 3 squared. So 3 to the power 2, and that means 2 of 3's timesing together. So 3 times 3, which is 9. Now, what I find really useful, because I see too many students every year kind of change the order of the question because of the order they're working it out in, I'm going to rewrite the question underneath, but I'm going to put that 9 in. So the 4 hasn't changed yet. The plus sign here hasn't changed yet. 3 squared has become 9, and multiply by 7 hasn't changed yet. So I've still got exactly the same question. I've just done a bit of it to help me out. So I've looked at brackets and I've looked at indices. Now I'm going to look for division. Well, there isn't any of that in the question. Now I'm going to look for multiply, and there is a multiply in the question. So even though it's the second part of the question, reading from left to right, I've got to do it first. So I'm going to do 9 times 7, which is 63. I've still got the 4 plus here, so I'm going to have to write that in. And then I'm going to finish off my BIDMAS. Addition comes next, and I do have an addition, so I have 4 plus 63, which makes 67. And I don't have anything left, so I've got my single answer and all of the operations have been solved in the right order. Okay, let's have a look at this next question here, and it's quite a tricky BIDMAS question because we currently have some BIDMAS going on, but it's asking us to put some brackets in to make it true. So I think what the question's suggesting here is that the correct answer to this currently isn't 14, but we want to make it 14. So let's just check that first to see whether it does work. So brackets, well, there aren't any in this question. Indices, there's none of those either. Division, none of that. Multiply, so 4 times 3 is 12. Addition, add 2. 12 plus 2 is 14. Subtraction, take away 6. Well, that would make 8, so it doesn't equal 14. So as it's currently written, that doesn't work. So what we're going to have to do now is put some brackets in to see if we can change it. So let's try putting some brackets here and here. Well, would that change the question? Well, no, because you're only putting it around the multiply, and that's the first thing that happened anyway. So we're probably going to need to put some brackets in over here, or possibly over here, because we want to do one of these bits first rather than the 4 times 3. So I'm just going to use some trial and improvement, some guesswork. I'm going to put some in here and see whether that changes the effect of the question. So start with brackets. I do now have some brackets, so I have to do this bit first, even though it's an add. It's inside brackets, so it becomes my priority. So 3 plus 2 is 5. Still got this 4 times here, and I've still got this subtract 6 here, and I start again. No brackets now, no indices, no division, multiply. 4 times 5 is 20, so that bit's now done. 20 subtract 6 is 14, so it works. So the brackets should have gone there around the 3 and the 2. And then the final part of BIDMAS is to understand inverse operations of each other, because it's really helpful to understand how you can affect what's going on. And so you just quite simply need to know that plus and minus have the opposite effect of each other, so they're a pair. Multiply and divide have the opposite effect of each other, so they're a pair. and this little 2 here is squared, which is an indice, and the opposite of squared is trying to find the number you've times by itself, which is known as square root. So, if you're feeling comfortable with BIDMAS and the order of operations, we've got some questions that we're going to try together. So pause the video when you're ready and give the questions a go, and then hit play and we will go through the answers and you can see how you got on. Right, question number 1. BIDMAS, remember, brackets, indices, division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. So let's have a look at this question number 1. I've got some addition and I've got some multiplication. Now according to the rule, multiplication comes first, so I have to do the 2 times 6, which is 12. Writing it out again, replacing the bit that I've done. I've then only got addition left, so 3 add 12, 15 is my answer. On the second question, I've got some multiplication, I've got some addition, and I've got some more multiplication. So the multiplication comes before the addition, so I've got to do this bit, and I've got to do this bit because they're both multiplications before I can do the addition part. So 4 times 3 is 12, 2 times 6 is 12, the addition sign comes down, and then I've just got 12 plus 12, so the answer is 24. Third question, I've got some division and I've got an indice or an index number. So brackets, indices comes first. So I've got to do 3 to the power 2, 3 squared, 3 times 3, which is 9. So I end up with 36 divided by 9. 9s into 36 are 4, and it was a single operation, so there was nothing else I needed to worry about. And in question 4 here, looking at BIDMAS again, brackets, so this bit's going to happen first now, and then inside the bracket there's 2 things going on, so it's almost like a double question here. So inside the bracket, multiplying an indice, well, indice happens first, so 3 squared, we looked on the previous question, is 9, so 2 times 9, which is 18, so all of that bit's sorted out. Rewrite the plus 4 times 3, because I haven't touched any of that bit of the question yet. And then I start again. No brackets, no indices, no division. Multiply comes next, so I've got to do 4 times 3 next, which is 12. 18 add 12, so the correct answer is 30. And then finally a question here where we've got to not just do it, but we've got to try and justify our answer here. So it says, Sam says 2 plus 5 times 2 minus 4 is equal to 10. Mo says that the answer is equal to 8. Who's right? Explain how you know. Well, let's use BIDMAS and then we can see which one of them used BIDMAS and probably which one of them didn't. There are no brackets, there's no indices, there's no division, there is a multiply, so we've got to do this bit first. We're going to do 5 times 2, which is 10 first. Still got our 2 there, still got our 4 there. Then we've got addition, so 2 plus 10 is 12. Then we've got the subtract 4, 12 take 4 is 8. So going back to the question, Mo is right. Explain how I know. Well, I've just used BIDMAS, so Mo's right because he used BIDMAS, and I'm going to guess that if we just follow this from left to right, 2 plus 5 is 7, times by 2 is 14, take 4 is 10. Sam didn't follow BIDMAS, he just read the question from left to right.